Talk.
Frank Lee made the beat.
What it do, KTTV? This is KT, and I'm coming at you live with another episode of the Daily K Podcast. And on today's Wellness Wednesday, I have the author, the motivational speaker, and the talk show host, Miss Regina Smithwick. How you doing today, Miss?
Get that right. I'm doing great. You did a great intro. Thank you. I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me on your podcast.
It is my pleasure. Like I said, the pre-conversation was so exciting. Till I'm looking forward to just the talk, just the experiences. It's Wellness Wednesday, so let's talk.
That's
about
right.
it.
That's right. That's right. Let's get it on in.
Before we do anything, I always like to jump in and do a wellness check. Just how have you been doing during this pandemic, and how have you been staying safe?
Oh, I've been doing good. God bless that. I have been okay. I'm got a little sniffles today, but I'm doing okay though. I'm not complaining. I went almost 2 years without catching this virus, and I did my shots, my booster. So me and my family has been blessed. We all been good. So I'm just happy about that. And these days, just happy to get up and breathe. So
I'm telling you, because look, do not take anything for granted. Is what I have learned over these past 2 years.
You didn't learn nothing in 2 years. You learned that breathing is fun.
Yes, yeah. And man, these days, man, it's dangerous. All right. That is wonderful. So now, as we jump into things today, I want to just set the stage. So we talked about gastric bypass, and so I know everybody is talking like, and we may touch on the surgery itself, but today, as we do wellness, I want us to really think about the mental aspect and really what we go through. So I guess hopefully people can kind of lock that in as we have that conversation. But in thinking about you, giving us a little background and understanding who you are, as I did my research on the page, September 2019. So now I want to say that was the beginning of the work, but I think you can better break it down. So talk to us about that day, and just tell us what it was.
It was a breakdown.
Yeah.
It was a mental, ain't no way to sugarcoat it. It was a mental breakdown. It was the beginning, it was the end and the beginning of what you see right now, what you see right here. This person would not have been here without that day. I had a breakdown, but I got my breakthrough literally the same night. So I was just tired of being sick and tired. I was tired of being in life without, you float around and don't have your purpose. You just kind of existing. I'm a good person. I do things. I'm in a sorority. I give back. I do all that great stuff. But I still didn't feel my purpose was fulfilled. Like, what was the God-given gift that he gave me to give back to the world? What is that? And that night, I was able to start the discovery of finding out what it is. So that's what that night was about.
Man, and so fast forward after that, man, you just started to work. Like, so you jumped into therapy.
I did my work. It's hard. I mean, I'm telling y'all people, I recommend everyone. I don't care if you think you're good or not. Everybody needs to see a life coach at least once in their life, just to make sure you're on track.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we don't talk to ourselves. Or we do talk to ourselves. That's the problem. You can't keep talking to ourselves. And you can't talk to people around you because all of y'all are common denominators. Y'all all similar. So you got to do with someone who's biased, who will just listen to you or whatever. But at least once in your life, just go to a life coach and see. You may learn something about yourself you didn't really realize.
Yeah. And just the sentiment that they say, don't believe everything you think. Right. So I agree with you on what we do. So you got to get that help. And looking at your work through Let's Talk, I feel good because we share the same mission. So empowering, motivating, uplifting our audience, right?
Yeah.
And so I want to say first, thank you for tonight coming on and being vulnerable as we talk about your journey, and kind of the things you went through. But we talked a little bit on the pre-show about people doing this for the right reason, people doing it for the wrong reason. So as we talk about this gastric bypass journey, what was your reason for it? And how did that kind of play out?
Well, my reason, well, let me go back a little further. My mother actually had got the surgery 3 years before then.
Mhm.
And I have a thing that's called polycystic ovary syndrome. And basically what it is a hormone imbalance. It's like a insulin resistance issues. It's like a cousin to diabetes, if you want to call it that. And then most people, you have it, you know, when you're born with it, and when you have your cycle, it starts kicking in, and then you start gaining weight, and you don't understand why, and it's hard for you to lose weight. So I didn't even know I had this at all. I just thought I was just eating. I mean, I'm not going to blame it all on it. I'm a bread eater. I love carbs. So that's part of my problem. But I was having issues losing weight, and I kept gaining and gaining and gaining. And the highest weight I got to was like 270 was the highest I got to. And my mother got the surgery before me, but even though she got it and she lost the weight, I just wasn't ready right at that time. I wasn't ready to do it because it's a life-changing thing. And plus, when you get it done, there's no going back. You know, they can't just go back and put your stuff back in order. Like when they do it, that's a wrap. So I kind of was like, just because she did it doesn't mean I was supposed to do it at that time. You know, that's your own personal decision. But when I decided to do it, when I got really to that point of weight, and I started having high blood pressure issues, and I was borderline diabetes, and then I found I had this syndrome. I was like, I got to do this for health reasons, you know, alone, just to get myself right, because I just had children and I wanted to be around. So I went ahead and got the surgery. So it was for those reasons why I went.
Yeah, yeah. And you think about that, man, you know, people always think about the vanity side of that, but people really do need that to kind of save their life, like you say, if it's a struggle. But at the same time, that diabetes is still going forward, or that high blood pressure is still going forward, and those effects
Right.
are happening every day.
Right.
Yeah. So then that makes me think about what we're going through today, with women enhancing these parts, right? And so
Mhm.
then they'll think about those unknowns. Man, so what was some of the first parts that started affecting you, like mentally, and I guess we could say adversely
Mhm.
through the
Um,
journey?
well, mentally, well, I'm gonna go back to what you just said about the body parts. That's a
Hmm.
different part. I know that, you know, the last 10 years that's been real popular, you know, doing the butt enhancements and, you know, the breast reduction. I mean, the breast have been for years, but
Yeah.
now everybody was doing the butt enhancements and stuff. But now, have you noticed there's a lot of shows about reversing those
Hmm.
things?
Hmm.
I think if it's not K Michelle, I think if I'm not mistaken, she has a
Yep,
show
I did.
on reversing because she had it and she took it out. And there's other people who had it and took it out and they're talking about it now. And I think what it is when you come into your own and realize who you are, you realize you're good enough. You're enough. And I think when you feel like you're enough, you realize you don't need all those enhancements to be your best you. And I know that some people who get those enhancements, they have a lot of issues, like medical issues behind it. You know, I don't know too much about it. I just know I heard stories and I seen things on the news of people who had issues with that. So a lot of it is mental, like you said. A lot of it is mental, even with the gastric bypass. You have to know your why, and it has to be a why that you really need to really search for. Because if you just want to jump on a quick fit scheme, or you just want to jump on this to lose a lot of weight and be able to wear these jeans you always wanted to wear, that's not the right. You don't do surgery. You don't lay your life on the table to wear a pair of jeans.
For sure.
That's what it really equals to. When you lay on that table, there's no guarantees. So if you lay yourself on the table for a pair of jeans, it's not worth it. You know. So if you really gonna do this, and you have to understand, it comes with a price. Like when you do this, it's a lifetime of taking vitamins for the rest of your life. For the rest of your life, you got to take D's and B12s and multivitamins. For the rest of your life, you're not supposed to drink soda. For the rest of your life, you're not supposed to eat sugar, like high sugar content foods. For the rest of your life, there's some foods that are not going to be digestible no more. Like you could probably eat something before, but now you can't take it because there's some foods now I can't eat that I ate fine before. So you have to be ready to let go of things, and if you're not, you're gonna have problems.
Man,
Definitely gonna have problems.
and I don't even have to let go of some things, and I'm having problems. I don't know what would happen if I was, my God. And
Yeah,
so
that's why
now,
you can't eat no more. You just can't. You can't drink sodas because it stretches your stomach out because of the bubbly. You know, you can't do it no more.
So now in this surgery, is that what they do when they cut your they cut or and they make the stomach like pear size or peach size?
They have so many different types now. I had
Mhm.
mine almost 12 years ago. So now it's like people get them now. They in and out the hospital the same day. They back to work about 2 weeks later, a week later. I was out of work for almost a month. My mother was out for 6 weeks. Like every year it gets better and better. So a lot of people are doing a gastric sleeve now.
Okay.
That's it's still the same concept, but it's not as abrasive as the gastric bypass like I received. Um, but the one I have is basically your esophagus is there, then you have a little piece of the top part of your stomach that stays, but the bottom part, the big part of your stomach, you see in the like diaphragms, and you see in the pictures and stuff. What happens is I don't use that to digest my food anymore. My food don't go through there no more. My food go through my large intestines, my small intestines to my large intestines. So you're skipping the stomach. So that's why it's called bypass. You're bypassing your stomach and going straight into your intestines. The bottom part of your stomach where the acid comes out when that breaks down the food, that still works. My food still gets broke down by the acid on the bottom, but my food don't go through the top. It stops. So a lot of people don't understand. So when they say don't eat a lot of sugar, what they mean is your stomach does not break down that sugar no more like it used to. You go ahead and put all that sugar in that small intestine and see what happens. It's called a dumping syndrome. And you get sick as a dog. I mean, you get the flu-like symptoms. You start sweating, you start throwing up, you start having diarrhea all at the same time. I seen it happen. My aunt had it right in front of my face one day, and it looked like she was about to die. So I'm telling people, make sure you know what you want, because that dumping syndrome ain't no joke. That piece of cake you eat, in a matter of 5 to 10 minutes, you're gonna be laying on the floor somewhere in the bathroom because you're gonna be in so much pain. So you gotta really know what you want.
That really just cements what you said about what are you doing this for? Because like you said, that is a full life change. The way you
Yes,
eat,
it is.
the way you think about food, man, even the places you probably eat now are different.
Yeah, well, you could eat at the same places. It takes me forever to eat. When I first got the surgery, my friends used to always laugh at me because I'll go out to eat, order this regular meal, and it takes me four times to eat that one meal to finish it off. You can't, even now, 12 years later, it will take me probably, I could eat one half of it there, eat the other half next day for whatever. I can't eat a full meal. That's not going to happen. If you do that, you're going to feel sick when you try to stuff all that food down you. So a lot of things change with that too. So when I go out to eat, people like, why you're not eating? I was like, I am eating. I just can't eat as much. Like I can't eat all this food.
Man. So then that brings me to when I was looking up some topics or just doing the research. One stat I ran across was it said patients may lose 30 to 50% of their excess weight in the first 6 months. 77% of the excess weight early as 12 months. And they maintain 50 to 60% loss for 10 to 14 years after surgery. So it's been 12 for you. At what point were you your biggest? How much did you lose? And how are you managing to keep it off?
I lost 105 when I first lost the weight. I'm at 170 now. The lowest I was 157. That's the lowest. Like after I had my surgery, the lowest was 157. And 157 was kind of like, okay, that's enough. Because I'm tall, I'm 5'10". So after a while, I was like, oh, that's a little too much. I'm at 170 now. That's good. I'm a size 10 pants, 8 pants. I'm fine. 165 would be my ideal weight to be at. I like 165 because that put me in a good 8 pair of pants. And then I run. I go to the gym 5 days a week. I go to the gym every morning from Monday to Friday, and sometimes on Saturdays. Usually in the summer, I go on Saturdays too. So I go to the gym 6 days a week. So a lot of people are not as, I guess, committed to the gym side of it. You have to eat decent food. You still can eat stuff, but you just got to watch what you eat. I always said, when I laid on that table that day, I said to myself, there's no way I'm going to be back to 270 after I lay my life down on this table. I just refuse to gain that weight back, and that's 100 pounds from where I'm at right now. So I just knew that that's for me. I mean, I heard stories. I've seen people who have gained all the way back, and I know that is heartbreaking when you got used to being a certain way and then you kind of convert back to where you was. I know it's hard mentally for you, and then others look at you and say, I knew you're going to gain the weight back or whatever. But I feel that the industry needs to do better with the psychological part of the surgery. Now, when you do get the surgery, you have to go see a psychiatrist. That's part of the prep. You got to see a psychiatrist, but you only see them one time. And they kind of just talk to you about the surgery. But my psychiatrist told me, she said, I'm going to let you know. There's a good chance that you may lose some friends. And if you may lose your husband. Okay, wait a minute. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to lose weight. But I'm going to lose my husband and friends? It didn't click. I'm like, what do you mean? It's my body. Why would I? She said, let me say it one more time. There's a good possibility that you may lose your husband or you may lose some friends over this. She said, because a lot of times you don't understand how people take you until you do something dramatic like this. You got, okay, so this is the best way I can describe it. If you were always the heavy person in your crew, okay, a lot of your friends base their baseline off of you. So they could be on the heavier side, but not as heavy as you. So they'll go, okay, I'm heavy, but I'm not as big as her. That makes you don't have to worry about yourself, right? So then you end up being smaller than she is. Now she got to take the mirror and look at herself because now she's the bigger one in the crew. So instead of her facing herself, she's going to say, you could see that. You think you all that. You think you this and that because you lost this weight, but blah, 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 blah. But really, she's upset with herself because now the mirror turned on her because now she's the bigger one in the crew. And that's how some of us think. So instead of us thinking, oh, that's great. I'm glad you got yourself together. You inspired me to get myself together. If they're not ready to do nothing, they're going to turn it back on you and say that you're the problem, not them. If that makes sense.
Yeah, perfect sense. That's like with the ugly friends. If you don't know which one of the ugly friends, it's probably you, family. So.
But you know what? It's sad though because we judge each other on stuff like this, and psychologically, I don't think we go out and aim to do this, but I think it's just the way some of us are made up. And I heard this story before. Many people say this before. They'll say that a person will hang with someone or hang with people that's less attractive than them to make them look better. I know this is when we are younger. Maybe I hope this is not when you're in 50s, and I hope this is when you're 20s or teens. I'm hoping. But they say that that's what people do because they make themselves feel better because they feel that they're the prettiest one in the crew. So imagine if you was the biggest one and now you're the smallest one in the crew. Do your crew still want you around? Because now they can't say you're the biggest one. Now they're the bigger ones.
Well, that hate.
How did that go? You know what I'm saying? How did that work? Well, how about the husband part? When she told me about the husband part. So I'm sitting here like, okay, how's that? How can that be? But then it makes sense. Because if he's used to you being a certain way and he's used to you feeling a certain way about yourself, meaning that you just kind of feel just you and him, but now you lose weight. And this is a place called Earth. Earth, we are very visual people, so this is going to happen. Men are going to start paying more attention to her because she's looking a certain way. And then on top of that, her confidence level is she's going to walk with a little pep in her step. Because she's going to be able to wear things that she couldn't wear before. She's going to feel herself, and I think that's great. I think a person should feel good about themselves. But if he's not used to that, now he's looking like, wait a minute now, hold up.
Yeah.
And it's not like she's doing anything different. It's just that the attention she's getting now making him uncomfortable and insecure. But that's the time that you need to work on yourself and realize that, that's you. You got the issue. Don't put it on her. She didn't do nothing but try to make herself healthy. And it's vice versa. It's vice versa. Because a lot of men get this surgery. And, they, whatever. And then they start going to the gym, working out, body, get their bodies right and everything. And now the women are going like, who's that? Why is she talking to you? Well, there's so many insecurities going on in here. It goes both ways.
Most definitely. You think about those pieces, and that's kind of what the title kind of represented. Those pieces that we don't think about. On one side you see, oh yeah, I'm about to look right. I'm about to get back in these streets. But then on the other side of that, like you say, you see the loss of your friends. You see the loss of people. Maybe your husband or your spouse. So just good that we are being able to talk about those pieces. And then looking at a successful surgery, right? When you think about the mental aspect, the physical aspect, as somebody who's been through this journey, what could people look for almost as a predictors of, okay, you will be successful because you have, or you can?
You may be successful in this whole thing if you first have your mind right. First, you need, if you're a believer, you need to take it to God and ask God to guide you through this thing, because it's a change all the way around. Your mental. There's some people who get the surgery and still see themselves being a size 20 when they are size 4. Because they didn't grasp this. They had the surgery, they know what they wanted, but when it happened, they still feel like the old them. They still wear big old clothes because that's how they feel about themselves. They don't feel that they're smaller. So I would say definitely go to a life coach. Go to someone and talk to them beforehand and kind of talk that out. So when you get the surgery, you're kind of good. You're in peace with it, and you know what's coming with it, and you understand what's going to happen. I think you'll be better off. I wish I'd done, I did that one little counseling session, but I wish I did go a little further, because you don't realize what's going to happen till it happens. And it's no taking it back. And you have to deal with people, or not deal with people, or learn how to let people go. Because sometimes some people was in your life for the wrong reasons in the first place. You don't know why they was there in the first place, but it's revealed later when you lose that weight why they were there. Because if they were your real friends, they happy for you. They glad that you healthy. But if they give you, pushback for losing weight, they're not supposed to be there anyway. That's not a friend. And that's somewhat kind of shift people around. Like, that's good that, you'll learn who's your people, who's not your people. And sometimes the closest one to you are the ones that you got to deal with the most. It's sad, but it happens.
Yeah, it happens. And now when you're out speaking, do you is this a topic that you talk to ladies or audiences about as well?
I don't really talk about this. I talk about the mindset and things of that nature, not really on the weight loss, but it kind of goes across the board, like your mindset and how you need to carry yourself and how you think about yourself. But I do talk about this subject with a lot of people who know, a lot of people who get the surgery, they'll call me and talk to me about it because they know I had it, because I had it for 12 years. So there's a lot of new people having the surgery now, and they'll call and ask me my advice and what kind of foods I should eat and why. And I tell them all the same thing. I said, just be prepared for some changes in your life. You may lose some people, you may gain some people. And then they did the same thing with me. They're like, what do you mean? I'm like, you believe me. You're going to gain some people and you're going to lose some people. I'm telling you, it comes with the territory. So you got to be ready for that. So.
How quick did your friends start acting funny?
I didn't have too many. I would say all my close-knit friends, they were good. Like I had some good, solid best friends and close people. There are some people in my outer circle that were kind of like, like, oh, she thinks she all that, or, sometimes people don't have to say nothing. It's just their actions. You don't have to say nothing. You can just feel their actions. And I think more of it was not a jealousy thing. It was just uncomfortable because they wasn't used to me in that setting. People put you in boxes. If people used to you a certain way, people who are not good with change, they want you to stay in that little box because that's where they have you at. When you shift yourself out that box, it doesn't matter what it is. It could be you could get more money, a better career, whatever, anything that changes, it makes them look at themselves. And they don't want to look at themselves and turn the mirror on themselves. They want to be able to say, you are worse than I am. So I don't need to worry about me. So that's what the problem is. I don't think they're jealous. I just think it's more of reflection. And they have to start looking in within, and they're not ready to do it. And we forcing them to do it because we change. So that's what that's about.
I remember when what was that reality TV came out, and so then you had all these shows, The Real World and Date, like Flavor Play, and so people were saying I like those shows because I can look at them and say, well, my life must not be that bad, So I totally agree with what you're saying.
That's what people do. And The Biggest Loser was my favorite show. I watched The Biggest Loser for all them years they were on TV. I love that. I love transformations. I've always been a person. I like to see the before and after, and but you even watch the show, they go through so many mental issues because a lot of times the weight comes on for mental stuff. It's not, they have like abuse or sexual abuse or stress or whatever, and they gain this weight over eating foods. So it's like, food is an addiction. It's an addiction. And, just because it's legal doesn't mean it's not an addiction. That's what the U.S. get confused. Sugar is an addiction. Sugar is like a crack. But it's because it's legal, we don't see it as seriously as crack. But sugar is just as bad or worse than, because you can get your hands on it everywhere you go.
Yeah, it is. My God, it is rough. I'm telling you.
Sugar is an addiction that is crazy, and it keeps the diabetic medication people in, and they make their money.
I'm telling you.
They make their money.
Look, I had some Reese's on my desk as I was walking out of work. I had to turn around, go back in, and grab them off the desk. Look, but that's that sugar.
I can't eat that no more. I can't eat that no more.
God,
it's too much sugar. I mean, because it's like 20 to 30 grams of sugar per container, or what you want to call it. That's more than one day's worth of sugar for me. That one, when you drink, and that's another thing I learned so much, because you go to a dietitian, so they teach you how to read labels. I never read labels. I just grabbed stuff. I started reading labels. That one Tropicana juice that you used to get at the gas station had 60 something grams of sugar in that one container. That container's for 2 servings, not one. It's not one. It's 2 servings in that one juice that we gulped down in that one sitting. 60 something grams of sugar. That's 2 days worth of sugar in one drink. You haven't eaten nothing at all. So imagine how much sugar you're taking in. Most people are taking in almost 100 grams of sugar a day. You're supposed to take in about 30, 35. Wow. So that tells you right there how sugar, and then that's a pound or certain pounds every couple of weeks you're gaining because you're drinking tropic. A lot of people who drop, if you stop drinking soda, you'll lose about a good 10 pounds in that year. Just stop drinking soda alone. But sugar has about 60 in the can, 60 grams of sugar in the Coke and the Pepsi.
Wow. Well, thank you for that information. I'm gonna go to
great. Now to go home and clean my refrigerator out.
Yeah, I'm like, when you know better, you do better. I hadn't went to a dietitian, had this conversation. Now it's in my head.
I ain't asked you come back no more.
Cut it out. I love it. Help me. Somebody. That's why I was looking at my counselor. She said, I know that addiction firsthand.
I'm telling you, that sugar no joke. I'm telling you.
That's it. So now talk to us about Let's Talk 1943.
Yes, sir.
So I know you share stories, personal journeys. What else kind of content can we find there?
Oh, we talk about everything. We talk about dating. We talk about insecurities. We talk about validation issues. We talk about dating the Christian way. That was a show with something else. We talk about your tribe. We talk about being single. We talk about good marriages. We talk about everything, anything and everything that's a topic that people would like to discuss. We do talk about it. We talk about HBCUs and PWIs. We talk about Greek organizations. Everything that we try to look at things a little different, or we try to, just like you're doing with this, we kind of pulling the stuff out that is not as noticeable. So we could kind of talk about some things. That's what 1943 is about. Let's Talk 1943.
I love it, man. As we get ready to wrap this up, I just wanted to say thank you for coming on, talking about the work, and really just highlighting that mental journey. Hopefully, if anybody takes something away, is that before you take that leap and getting on that table, to make sure that you're ready for that after. Right, where you may lose things, or the emotional side of it, and then what happens if you gain it? So are you willing to do the work to keep it off? Because that's one thing we didn't touch on. Really was, like I said in the pre-chat, what happens mentally to the people who, not the people who keep it off, but the people who do gain it back? Like, do they go to therapy, or now they forever chasing that weight loss again? Because I don't think you have any more stomach to cut off after the surgery, right?
Well, you're not really cutting off the stomach. You stretch your stomach out. The stomach that they did shrink, you stretched it out. So therefore, you're able to hold more food. Therefore, you're eating more food, you eat more calories, and that's where you gain your weight at. So it could go both ways. Either, like you basically described it, either you're gonna try to chase it, you know, kind of going through the same loops you were going through before the surgery, because most of us went through the ups and downs and the yo-yos before we got to the surgery. So you'll get back to that, because only way you get that fixed now is the revision surgery. They do offer that now. They didn't have that before. So now they do have it. So they go in there and tighten your stomach back up, or they staple it back up to a smaller stomach. You can do that. But before you do that, let's talk. Did you do your work to understand why you got here in the first place before you go fix something that you need to keep fixed? You don't need to go back again and stretch it out again, because you're going to start, every time you have surgery, you put yourself more and more at risk. And then the older you get, more and more at risk. So if you're going to go back and revise it, okay, cool. But did you do any therapy, any work, anything that you will not get back here again? So, and then the mental state is people, you think about people saying or what people thinking about you because you gain all that weight back. And it's kind of how you handle the weight. You know, if you kind of handle the weight on a, like, you didn't throw it in people's faces and acting all crazy. And then when you gain the weight, they're going to be looking for you like, I knew you were going to gain that weight. You thought you was all that, huh? You know?
Haters waiting on you to fail.
They're waiting on this, tapping their foot like, you're going to gain the weight. Wait, that's weight, you know? So you don't want that to happen either. So you just want to be, you know, make sure you're healthy. It's all about you and your health. That's what this is so important. It's about your health. The looking good is the bonus. I'm not lying. I'm not going to lie to you. I love the fact that I could wear and I feel better and I feel like my old self again. I'm not going to say lie and say that's not a good thing. So it is. But the ultimate goal is for you to be healthy and to be on this world as long as you possibly can. So if you want to get the surgery done, go talk to the right doctors, go talk to the counselors, get your own life coaching before you even do it, because you need to know who you are inside before you do the surgery. If you're thinking the surgery is going to solve all your problems and you're going to find the man in your dreams and you're going to get all this stuff because you lose this weight, honey, child, girl, that's not how it works. It doesn't work that way. Because if you're still broken inside or you're still not fixed inside, it doesn't matter how small you are, that's going to be revealed. You're still not going to get everything you want because you're not in a good place with yourself. Love yourself first, then go look into that surgery.
Oh, and I forgot to ask you this. So now, even after the surgery, you think about as those pounds inch up, because I know you say you was down to 150 something, and so 157, then going back up. How did you handle that? Like, did you? Because was it intentional or was it just coming back up and you're like, oh God, what's happening? Am I losing control? Like mental aspect of it. How was it?
No. You're gonna fluctuate at first. When you lose the weight at first, your body's gonna go down that low. That's how it goes. It just goes down because you're not eating that much. You're eating really, really little. I was eating shot glasses for dinner because your body can't hold that much. I was eating potatoes in a shot glass. I was eating pudding in a shot glass. That was a meal. So when you first had to start the first month or two, you're going to lose that much weight. But when you start eating a little bit more, and then your body fluctuates, it bounces out. So at 157, that's almost 160. I'm at 170. It's like, what is that? 13 pounds. It's no big deal. And it's 12 years later, and I have menopause. I've been through menopause. So your body's going to do that. That's not the problem. And then when you work out, I lift weights. So I'm going to gain muscle. So I'm going to fluctuate between those 10 pounds. So, it's not like if I said I'm at 225, that's something different because I'm really kind of gaining the weight back. But I'm still in the same clothes. I can still wear the same clothes I was able to wear before. So it's no big deal.
Yeah, that's a good way to see it. Like you say, but that comes with having that knowledge, having that background, and just understanding what's happening. Because it could be a freak out, like, oh God, what I do, and then you go crash diet or do something crazy.
Oh no. Yeah. I understand. I'm getting older. I mean, I'm 52 now, and I was 40 when I got the surgery. So life, like I said, menopause is something else. Menopause, people gain weight through that cycle anyway. For me to gain with the little weight I gained in the last 12 years is amazing. There's people I know who gained 12 pounds during menopause because your body hormones are going back. So I'm fine. I'm doing good. I still got a flat stomach, so I'm good out of the gym.
Come on now. Man.
I go to the gym. I'm a gym rat. I go to the gym a lot. So it's fine.
Yeah, so good on so many aspects. Man, that's it. Well, tell us, how do we find you? How do we contact you here?
Yeah, look for me, y'all. Y'all look for me.
Yeah.
Y'all look for me. I'm on, like I said, my show is called Let's Talk 1943. 1943 stands for my dad. My dad passed away in 2012. He was born in 1943, Hildred Smithwick. So I named the show after him. So Let's Talk 1943. You can find me on YouTube. And please subscribe to my channel. I would love that if you can do that. I have my website, www.letstalk1943.com. I have a book, Adoption the Unknown Blessing, that's on Amazon, and you'll find it under Adoption the Unknown Blessing, or my name, Regina Smithwick, and my 4 books will pull up. I am actually having a workshop coming up in March, and it's called Wring Out Your Sponge. And it's about wringing out all these insecurities, all these validation issues, all this, all the self-esteem issues, low self-esteem issues. And we're going to fill it back up with better belief systems, feeling better about yourself. We can have motivational speakers up there talking to you, working through the workbook. It's going to be an amazing thing. So if you're interested in joining us as we rebuild, look on my website, www.letstalk1943.com, and you'll be able to sign up for the workshop. Wring Out Your Sponge.
Nice title. I like that.
Wring out your sponge.
Hey, all right. Well, I just want to say again, thank you for taking this time, being vulnerable, telling your story, and giving us those tidbits as we go about our day here to Miss Smith.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for having me.
Yes, ma'am. All right, y'all. This is KT for KTTV signing out. 100.
This is Darnell with Broadcast Houston.
This is Dr. Tamara Beckford.
Hey, this is Candace.
This is London Underwood.
This is Kirsten Bass with Inner City Greens, and you're watching.
Y'all are now tuned in to
KTTV.
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 KT.